Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Dennis Brown. I want to thank you for joining my Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. Today, I'm going to share with you some very valuable information. It is 3 steps every freight broker must take before hiring a motor carrier. So these are things that you need to understand. 3 steps that you need to take before you ever hire your first carrier to haul your first load. Okay. So it's important. But thank you for joining me a little bit early. The training is going to start. So here's the agenda. We're going to do a quick giveaway, right? That's why you joined me early. Then we're going to do the training, and then we're going to do live Q&A. Okay. So that's the agenda as normal. So we're going to be doing a quick giveaway here in just a minute. Maybe we'll give away a Freightpreneur t-shirt, maybe some cash, depends upon how I'm feeling and how much time we have. But yes, we are going to do a quick giveaway. Then we're going to jump into the training. And again, today we have a very important topic. We're going to talk about 3 steps every freight broker must take before hiring their first motor carrier, right? And every carrier that they hire for as long as they're a broker, these are 3 simple steps you need to follow in order to make sure you keep yourself out of trouble, okay? All right, so we got a bunch of people joining us live. This is awesome. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys had a great weekend. We've had a ton of rain around here. I'm in the Western New York area. We've had a ton of rain, which we kind of needed, I guess, but ultimately it kind of puts a damper on weekends. But I hope you guys are having a great day. Again, I do these Freight Broker Bootcamp live trainings every Monday at noon. I've been doing them for years now. And here's all I ask you to do. If you enjoy or you're excited about today, like the stream, wherever you're watching it. If you're watching it on YouTube, if you're watching it on LinkedIn, if you're watching it on Facebook, wherever you're at, hit the like button and then share the stream. If you really enjoy it, share the stream. It doesn't cost you anything. And that's literally the price of admission today. I'm not asking you for a credit card to be a part of this training. I'm not asking you for anything other than to be fully engaged, like, comment, and share the stream. Truly appreciate it. And again, we're going to do the giveaway here in the next minute or so. Once we get a few people live, it'll be very, very simple for you guys to qualify for the giveaway. First thing we're going to do is give away a Freightpreneur t-shirt. Again, this says someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. Very popular shirt. I've given away hundreds of them. And no, I don't sell them, but I do give a lot away. And we're going to give at least one away today, depending upon our time. So here we go. Okay, good. Let's do the first giveaway. So if you want a chance to win the Freightpreneur t-shirt, number one, because of shipping and logistics, you have to be in the United States. I'm not going to ship this halfway around the world. It's a t-shirt, okay? So if you're in the United States, you can qualify for this giveaway. Here's all you got to do. What I want you to do is I want you to pull out your smartphone. I don't care if it's an Apple or an Android, right? If you're on Apple, I want you to pull up the podcast app. It's a purple app, or you can just search podcast. It's natively installed. You don't have to download anything. Pull up the podcast app, search for Freight Broker Bootcamp. Okay, search for the Freight Broker Bootcamp, and what you'll see is you will end up seeing my bald, shiny head and the logo. Okay, it says Freight Broker Bootcamp, right? And then all I want you to do is subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It'll take you all of 60 seconds to do that. Come back in here to the comments and let me know that you subscribed, rated, reviewed on Apple. Now, if you don't have Apple and you listen to music on Spotify or Google Podcasts or some other podcast app, all you got to do is open that podcast app on your phone and go in and subscribe, rate, and review, and then come back in here and let me know what app you subscribed, rated, and reviewed. Subscribe, rated, reviewed on Apple, subscribe, rated, reviewed on Spotify, subscribe, rated, reviewed on Google Podcasts, whatever app, come back into the comments and let me know. And that's going to be your entry into a chance to win the Freightpreneur t-shirt. It'll literally take you 60 seconds. Just so you guys know, the Freightpreneur podcast is where I keep the best of the best of the best audio only training. That means you can listen to it when you're working out. You can listen to it when you're driving your car, when you're walking your dogs, when you're just chilling and you don't want the TV on and you just want to sit by the pool and relax. So yeah, you can listen to it anywhere. It's audio only and it's absolutely free. I think we've got about 100 different trainings on there now. And we add 2 new trainings every single week. Okay. So if you subscribe, rate, and review, not only will you get a lot of great training and content for free, but you'll also get a chance to win the Freightpreneur t-shirt. So do that now and then come back in here and let me know that you subscribed, rated, reviewed. But you have to say this in the comments. This is exactly what you have to say. And this is an honor system. Subscribe, rated, reviewed on Spotify. Subscribe, rated, reviewed on Apple. I need to know where, and I need to know that you did all three in order to qualify. If you just come in here and say done, I'm not going to select you. Even if I randomly pick you, you're not going to get selected. Okay. Don't say subscribed. Don't say reviewed. Say subscribed, rated, reviewed on Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to podcasts. Okay. And if you're new to podcasts and you're not listening to podcasts, you're absolutely crazy. It is literally my favorite way to consume content, even more than YouTube. Okay. And I love YouTube, but trust me, the podcasts for me are my number one way that I love to consume content, learn things, whatever the case may be. Okay. So make sure you do that. Come back in here and hit me up in the comments with subscribe, rated, reviewed, wherever you're doing that. Awesome. John Smith, well done. Humanity and Kindness, well done. Michael Shepard, well done. John Smith, well done. All right, good. Everybody is figuring it out. So we're going to let a few people, we're probably only going to get one giveaway done before the training. Maybe if we have time, I'll try to do one after the training before the live Q&A, but we'll see how things go. So for now, we're just going to do one giveaway. If you want a chance to win, you got to go and subscribe, rate, and review. Okay. If you're on Apple, write a quick review. Okay. And who knows, maybe I'll give you a shout out on a future episode if you actually do a review on Apple. Okay. Just a quick review. It'll ask you I want an honest review, 1 to 5 stars. If it's a 1, give it a 1. It's a 5, give it a 5. If you have something nice to say, great. If you don't like it, let me know. It's okay. All right. I'm just looking for honest reviews, but I truly appreciate you guys playing along, and we're going to select a winner here in just another minute or two. All right, cool. Sam did it. Well done, Sam. Well done, Michael. All right. So we got a bunch of people that are in the contest, in the giveaway. So we're going to be giving away one Freightpreneur t-shirt. And again, just so you guys know, for those of you that don't know who I am, some of you are probably new to the stream. My name is Dennis Brown. I've been an entrepreneur for over 25 years. Been very, very blessed. Built 4 multi-million-dollar companies in 4 different industries. One of the companies that I built was a freight brokerage, a logistics company. Started that company in 2003, grew it through 2016. When I sold it, we were doing over $80 million a year in sales. I personally have done over $200 million a year as a freight broker. Not only did I own the brokerage, but I also am the owner of freightbrokerbootcamp.com, which is the most cost-effective and comprehensive online freight broker training program available today. So if you guys are curious about getting started as a freight broker or a freight agent, you can check that out, freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Again, we've trained over 10,000 students, been in business over a decade, and we offer a 60-day 100% unconditional money back guarantee if you're not happy for any reason. So you can always check that out if you're curious about becoming a freight broker, freight agent. All right. So cool. We got a bunch of people. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Nancy signed up on Google Podcasts. Awesome. Sam, Michael, Raj, M. Brown. Okay. Humanity. Okay, cool. So we got 60 seconds and then we're going to give away. So you got about 1 minute to subscribe, rate, and review to the podcast. And we're going to do the t-shirt giveaway. And then we're going to get on with the training. And today, for those of you that are joining me late or didn't hear, today I'm going to share with you 3 steps every freight broker needs to take before hiring their first motor carrier, before hiring any motor carrier. Okay. So you need to take these steps before you hire a motor carrier. And they're very, very simple, but they're very, very important, right? Anybody here could learn how to do this in 5 minutes. And I'm only going to it's probably going to take 5 to 10 minutes to go through this training. And then we're going to do the Q&A at the end. And again, you stick around to the end and you can ask me any questions you want in the chat box. And I will do my absolute best to try to answer those questions. I can't promise I will have all the answers, but I promise I will do my best to try to help get you those answers, whatever they may be. Okay. So let me just close some of these windows so that we don't have any issues with resources. Hopefully we don't. All right, close everything down here. All right, so we're getting close. I hope you guys are ready. All right, cool. All right, so here we go. I'm going to randomly pick one person. I do it very, very non-scientific, right? All I do is scroll to the section where everybody sent me the comments. I close my eyes, I scroll through, and I randomly pick one winner. And the winner is Raj. Raj is the big winner. Subscribed, rated, reviewed on Spotify. Well done. Well done. Thank you so much, everybody who played along. Raj, you are the winner of the Freightpreneur t-shirt. Here's all you have to do to claim your prize. I need you to go to the Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page. Log into Facebook, search for Freight Broker Bootcamp. You'll find the page. Go to the page, like the page, and then message me your full name, your mailing address, and your size. I think this is a large, and they come pretty true to size. They're unisex sizing. So I need your name, I need your mailing address, and I need your size. Send that to me and let me know that you won the podcast subscribe t-shirt giveaway. If you let me know that in the next 24 to 48 hours, I'll make sure that order gets processed. You'll get it within about a week or two. Truly appreciate you playing along. Congratulations, Raj. And thank you, everybody, for playing along. I truly believe whether you've listened to the podcast yet or not, you're truly going to enjoy it. We've been ranked in the top 100 out of all entrepreneur podcasts on Apple. And if you know anything about that, there are tens of thousands of entrepreneur podcasts on Apple. And we've been ranked in the top 100. And that's all because of you and the value that people are getting from the podcast. Again, so it's the best of the best free training. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Congratulations to Raj. And thank you, everybody, for playing along. Hey, before we get started, let's do some quick shout outs. Hit me up in the comments and let me know the city and state you're logging in from. And I'll try to do some shout outs. Then we're going to jump into the live training. And then we're going to do live Q&A, as I said before. So hit me up in the comments with the city and state you're logging in from. I'm in the Buffalo, New York area, Clarence to be exact. We usually have a few people in the live that are from my area, but we also have people from Canada and Central America and the Ukraine and India and Australia and the UK and anywhere and everywhere in between. We have people from all over the place that join these trainings. So hit me up in the comments with the city and state you're logging in from. I'd love to hear where you are, and maybe I can give you a quick shout out. All right. M. Brown from Brownsville, Texas. Welcome. Michael Shepard from Weaver, Alabama. Welcome. Operation DSN Expedited from Milwaukee. Welcome. Nancy Hunter from Reno, Nevada. Next Links from Valley Stream, New York. Dwayne Moore from Philadelphia. Derek Rice from Arkansas. Gina Biner Simmons from Southgate, Michigan. Jose Gamino from Chicago. Gustavo from Venezuela. There we go. Gustavo's in the house. Eric from Santa Clarita, California. Isiaka from Abuja, Nigeria. Like I said, people from all over the country. I apologize if I murdered your name or the city. I'm terrible with pronunciations, particularly names. Keldrick from Kentucky. Richard from Jacksonville. Zoran from Macedonia. Bob from McPherson, Kansas. You see, people are from all over the world. And that's one of the things that gets me excited. We've trained students, I think, in about 16 different countries. Okay. I think that was the last count I had, was about 16 different countries. We have students that that live in other countries that are now doing over $1 million a month in business, right? $1 million a month as a broker, and they don't even live in the United States. Okay. And it all started either with my course or some online training that I did, or one of the different programs that I have. So if you're curious about becoming a freight broker, make sure you check that out. Welcome, everybody. Sam from Twin Falls, Idaho. Aaron from Washington, D.C. Welcome, everybody. All right. So enough with that. You guys came here for some training. So that's what I'm going to give you. Let me grab a quick drink and then we'll dive right in. Okay. All right. So the training starts at noon. Cookie, welcome, Cookie. Welcome, everybody. And I'd love to hear from my first timers. If this is the first time you've ever been to my live, or the first time you've ever heard any of my content, hit me up and let me know that you're a first timer. I love to hear from first timers. Okay. I love to hear it. Maybe I'll give you a shout out after the training, before the live Q&A. Okay. All right. So got lots of notes to go over today. Okay. These are the notes. This is the outline for today's training. And like I said before, I'm going to share with you 3 steps that every freight broker has to take before hiring their first motor carrier. All right. These are really, really important. They're simple, but they're very critical and important to any freight broker. All right. So first timer, M. Brown. Awesome. First timer, Gina. Love it. Harlem, 1939, first timer. Beauty by Yaya, first timer. Awesome. Tony Purcell, first timer. Wow. Lots of first timers today. I love it. Perfect. All right. Well, you guys are in for a treat. But what I would love to hear from you and everybody is after this training, I'd love to get some feedback from you. You can rate me 1 to 10. If I sucked and this was terrible, give me a 1. I want you to be honest with me. If it was, it was okay, give me a 5 or a 6 or 7. If it was really good and you liked it, give me an 8, 9, or 10. I'd love to hear that. If you didn't like it, I'd like to know why, because I'm always trying to improve. I come back every week and I provide these free trainings. So here we go, guys. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 steps that every freight broker needs to take before hiring a motor carrier. Now, what you have to understand is that there are some basic requirements that every carrier must have and must qualify for before you as a broker or an agent hire them to move one of your shipper's loads. And these are the 3 steps I'm going to give you. All right, so the first step is this. You have to make sure that every carrier has an active carrier authority, an active motor carrier authority. All right. The way you do that is very simple. You will go to the FMCSA site. You will go to the SAFER system, which is the SAFER component of the site, where you'll be able to pull up based on their DOT number or their MC number, right? Their company profile. And you will be able to see if they have an active carrier authority. You'll also be able to see if they have a active broker authority. You'll be able to see if they have an active authority. That is the first thing you must do with every carrier before you ever even consider hiring them to move a load. If they do not have an active authority, then you should not and cannot hire them, okay? It's going to be a major problem, and you're setting yourself up for a lot of liability and issues if you do that. You as a broker are liable for negligence, and this is one of the things that you must qualify, okay? If they are an intrastate carrier, meaning they're only moving loads within their state, like the state of Texas or California or Florida, and they only move loads within that individual state, then they will only have a DOT number, but you will be able to see if they have an active DOT number for their state. If they are moving interstate, which is they're crossing lines, they're going from California to Texas or Texas to New York, and they're going through multiple states, then you will need an interstate authority. Now, that will also include a DOT number. It will also include a MC number or a motor carrier number, right? So the first step is you have to validate that they have an active authority. That's number 1. Number 2, you have to confirm that they have valid insurance. All right. So there are 2 components of insurance that every carrier must have. They must have what's called public liability insurance. Really, what I was always taught is it's called BIPD, bodily injury, personal damage. Okay. So they have to have BIPD insurance in the amount minimum to $750,000. All right. Minimum coverage there is $750,000. Now, most carriers have $1 million plus, but they have to have a minimum of $750,000 BIPD. They might have up to $5 million or more, but ultimately they have to have that proper coverage. The second coverage they need is cargo insurance. Now, the minimum cargo insurance for a truck is $5,000. So that's the minimum that the FMCSA sets in order for them to have an active authority with that truck and to run that truck on the road. So every truck must have a minimum of $5,000 insurance, but you need to listen very carefully. You as the broker are responsible for making sure that the carrier's cargo insurance exceeds the value of the freight that you are shipping. So in most cases, most brokers look for $100,000 in cargo insurance because that will cover most freight. Okay. And that's what most carriers get. But some carriers will carry less insurance to try to keep their costs down. And so ultimately, you have to make sure that the cargo insurance value exceeds the value of the freight. Typically, it's going to be $100,000. If a shipper has a very specific requirement, like they need $150,000 or $250,000 or $1 million because it's high value cargo, then you will have to make sure that the carrier's insurance can cover that. All right. So it's your responsibility as a broker to make sure that they have adequate bodily injury, personal damage, which is minimum of $750,000. Typically, most will have $1 million. And you also have to make sure they have the proper cargo insurance with a minimum of $5,000, but it must exceed the value of the load. So worst case scenario, you need to ask that carrier, what's the value of the load? And or you need to make sure that it doesn't exceed $100,000, which is what most carriers have, right? So that's step number 2. Step number 3, you have to check their safety and performance history, okay? You have to check the carrier's safety and performance history. This is called their CSA safety score, all right? So what you will do is you'll go to the FMCSA. There's a CSA section to it, right? Where you can go in and check the motor carrier safety and performance data. All you'll have to do is put their MC number in or their DOT number in, and you will be able to pull their safety data. Now, there is a variety of data that they're going to share with you about inspections and out of services and all the safety related parameters that the DOT tracks on carriers. But ultimately, there are going to be one of 4 different ratings for every carrier. They are either going to be a satisfactory rating, an unsatisfactory rating, a conditional rating, or not rated. All right. So that's one of 4. So obviously, if the carrier has a satisfactory rating, then you have no issues. You should be able to load them without problem. If they have an unsatisfactory rating, you may have some concerns and there are some additional steps. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not here to tell you what to do, but if they have an unsatisfactory rating, then you definitely don't want to load them. If they have a conditional rating, then that's where you may want to look a little bit deeper. You may want to find out exactly why they have a conditional rating, and you may want to try to get some information from the carrier on how they've corrected that, and then you can make a judgment as to whether that's a carrier that you think is adequate to load. And then the last one is if they're not rated. A lot of times a carrier's not rated if they're very new. Maybe they're just got their authority. Maybe they've only been in business. Maybe they've only got 1 truck. Maybe they haven't been inspected yet. Maybe they haven't been put to the test yet by the DOT, so they don't have a rating. So ultimately, what you want to do is you want to check their safety history, okay? So that's important. You want to understand this is all part of the due diligence that you as a broker are responsible for whenever you are hiring a motor carrier, right? All right, and I'm going to give you a bonus, right? So those are the first 3, but I'm going to give you a bonus. So lean in really quick because here's the bonus. The bonus is this. In an effort to try to validate the carrier's information and to protect you as the broker and your shipper from possible fraud, what I would suggest you do is check out the TIA Watchdog report. Okay. Now this is a report. This is a site. This is a service, a free service to TIA members that is put together in an effort to try to prevent fraud throughout the industry, right? To protect brokers and shippers from any carrier that might be trying to do something fraudulent. All right. It does happen from time to time. It's data that's compiled by over 3,400 members across the country that allows brokers and these members to review carriers based on their performance and based on their experience, and then allows those carriers to respond to that report based upon whatever, their take on that situation was. So it gives some transparency into if carriers are doing business properly. Okay. So you can check that out at the TIA. I think it's at the TIAwatchdog.com. Now you do need to be a member of the TIA. I was a member of the TIA for years. I highly recommend it. They're a great organization. So yeah, absolutely. So that's your bonus. Again, I'm going to run through them really quick. Number 1, you have to check and make sure they have a valid and active carrier authority. Number 2, you have to make sure they have proper insurance, not only public liability, but also cargo insurance. Number 3, you have to make sure that you check their safety history, check their safety rating. Okay. You have to check that. And then number 4 is to check out the TIA Watchdog report to protect you and your shippers from possible fraud. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, give me a heads up in the comments. Let me know from 1 to 10. 1, hey, Dennis, this sucked. I really didn't enjoy it. It wasn't good for me. 10, if you loved it, truly appreciate it. Give me some feedback in the comments. I love it. And I come back here every week and do these free Freight Broker Bootcamp trainings. If you're curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent, and you're just getting started and you're trying to connect the dots, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We've trained over 10,000 students, been in business over a decade. I've personally done over $200 million as a freight broker, and we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money back guarantee. If for any reason you're not happy, we'll send you back your money, no questions asked. All right. So have an awesome day. Truly appreciate you guys being here. All right. Sweet. So don't go away because I'm going to do live Q&A in just a couple minutes. Hold your questions. Hold your questions for now. Because we may do something really quick. So let me grab a quick drink, get my thoughts here. First of all, did you guys enjoy the training? Okay. If you did, let me know in the comments 1 to 10. Give me a heads up if you guys enjoyed the training. Truly appreciate it. And if you didn't enjoy it, I just want some feedback. Give me some feedback. Why didn't you like it? Was it technical issues? Was it my bald, shiny head was glaring too much in your eyes? Was it I talked too fast? What was it? Give me a heads up. Okay. I'd love to hear from you guys. All right. Awesome. Thank you, Jomo. Thank you, everybody. Awesome. Love it. Good feedback. Thank you so much. All right. So we're going to be jumping into Q&A in here in just a minute. Hold your questions. Hold your questions, because if you don't, they're going to get lost in the feed. And then I'm not going to get your question. Okay. I'm going to do my best here in just a minute or two. I'll start taking questions in just a minute or two. I'll let you know when to type them in. I probably will not get to everybody's question. There's usually way more questions than there is time on this live. I will try to come back in later in the week and try to respond to your questions if I have time, depending upon the question. Here's what I would suggest you do. Try to be very specific about your question, but don't be very long-winded. Try to keep it short, but specific. I know that's hard. Don't ask me the question of how does a freight broker get shippers? Too generic, right? Too generic. How do freight brokers get shippers? How does any business get a customer? Sales, right? You know, this is not e-commerce. We're not selling widgets. It's not Amazon. This is a B2B service business, right? So it really comes down to sales. So be specific about your questions, please. All right, cool. So let's, thank you very much for the feedback. I truly appreciate it. You know, I don't do that for my ego. I do that because I want to create what I call a customer feedback loop. I want to get feedback from you because it doesn't matter how important I think this training is. It doesn't matter how great of a job I think I did. It only matters what you think. Okay. And I want you to take that to heart as you're starting your entrepreneurial journey, because this is something that you need to do as a business owner. You need to listen to your customers. You need to listen to your target market. You need to listen to your audience. You need to listen to your prospects. They will tell you the secrets of how to serve them, of how to do more business with them, right? How to develop a great rapport and relationship with them if you learn to listen. Okay. So I'm leading by example. So let's jump ahead here. Let's jump into the live Q&A. If you guys have questions, hit me up. Hit me up in the comments with questions. I'm going to try to go in order. If the questions, I can't make sense of them, then I'm going to skip them. Try to keep them short but specific, and I will jump in and try to answer all those questions for you. All right. Okay, so Ozan has a question. Thank you for the lesson. What is the best contract type with a freight brokerage firm to stay independent as a freight agent? All right, so Ozan, I think you answered your question. If you are looking to become a freight agent, and if you're going to work with a freight brokerage and you're not going to get your own freight broker authority, you're typically going to play one of two roles. You're either going to be a W-2 employee that works with them as an employee, okay, and maybe you'll work inside the organization, maybe you'll work remote, but you'll be getting some sort of a salary or hourly plus some sort of a commission. That's one way to do it, but that's an employee route. I don't teach that, and that's not what I recommend. Most of my students who want to work in the industry but don't want to get their freight broker license or authority become agents. And that's where they will partner with a freight brokerage and they will become an independent contractor of that freight brokerage. So the freight brokerage will have an independent contractor agreement, which will identify the relationship, the roles and responsibilities, and typically the commission and compensation plan. Okay. It's usually a short agreement, maybe 3 to 5 pages long. It's something that, you know, the broker will have, they'll send to you if they're going to bring you on as an agent. You will fill it out. I suggest you review it. Maybe you want to have an attorney review it. And then at that point, you're going to sign it, they're going to sign it, and that's going to consummate the relationship. And then you will become an agent of theirs, and there'll be some sort of onboarding process where you will then start working with them. But you will be an independent business owner. You're not an employee. They're going to pay you commission only, and they're not going to take taxes out of your commission. They're going to simply give you a gross check, and then you as a business owner are responsible for holding out your own taxes. Okay, so that should help. Okay, so let's check this out. So best low-cost TMS software with templates for rate confirmation that small one-person broker needs. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. Here it is. This is the one that I vetted. This is the preferred vendor of Freight Broker Bootcamp, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/TMS. Okay, that is a preferred vendor, right? It is Ascend TMS. Go to that link and you're going to get a special offer. But you do have to use the coupon code FBBC. Okay. So you'll be able to enroll without a credit card. You don't need a credit card to enroll. You can do a trial, right? And then if you choose to continue, there are some pay models where it's very inexpensive, but you have to use the coupon code FBBC when signing up. There are lots of TMSs out there. Okay. But I know the CEO of Ascend, Tim Hyam. I've known him for years. He and I have a very similar background. He owned a brokerage. He developed the Ascend TMS. Has one of the largest TMS products out there. He's very innovative. He's very forward thinking, but he also keeps it very affordable. Okay, so that would be my suggestion for anybody looking for a TMS. Again, you can sign up for free, absolutely free right now. You don't even have to put a credit card in. Okay, but you do have to use the coupon code FBBC. Okay, hope that helps. All right, so I got to scroll back here real quick. Okay, so Michael Shepard asks, what are some tricks to win more lanes than I'm quoting in this crazy market? Okay, so in any market, there's, you know, rates can be going up, rates can be going down, or they can be somewhat stable, right? We've seen a lot of volatility in the market in the recent years because of COVID and because of supply chains and because of all kinds of issues, right? Different variables that, you know, the price of fuel, all kinds of things, right? Here's what I'm going to tell you. When markets are volatile and there's a lot of up and down in the rates, that is the best time to get shippers. Now, you might not believe me, but trust me, here's the reason why. When there's volatility in the market, that usually comes with some sort of pain for the shipper. And when the shipper feels pain, increased price, decreased service and performance, up and down, carriers going out of business, brokers, you know, whatever not being able to fulfill whatever their previous commitments are rate-wise because the fuel went up. So all of those things create pain for the shipper. And when the shipper has pain, that's when they will open up the door and let your foot in. And that's how you get your foot in the door. And then you squeeze your arm and shoulder in the door. And then you squeeze your butt in the door. And the next thing you know, you're in the door and you're doing business with that shipper. So the best time to get customers is during a volatile market. Now, your question more specifically is, what are some tricks to win more lanes than I'm quoting in a crazy market? All right. So here's a little bit of a, here's something you can try. Okay. When a shipper asks you to quote them on a lane, let's say it's from a van load from Buffalo to Atlanta. When they ask you to quote on that, you can ask them if they have a range that they are looking for. So you could ask them back. So let me ask you, what is the range that you're expecting that to fall into? Now, some shippers will not tell you that. Some shippers will. If they tell you that, you now have some market intelligence from that shipper as to what their expectations are. Now, almost all shippers are are incentivized to try to decrease their shipping cost as long as it doesn't cost them service, as long as it doesn't cost them customers on the back end because of poor service on the delivery and the logistics side, right? Because when you're making a product, if you're selling Pepsi or Coke or water or steel or produce, right? You can sell that product all day long, but until it's delivered on time in good condition with no problems, they're not going to pay the bill, right? And so you got to make sure that it delivers on time in good condition with no problem, or it's going to cause an issue with the sale. So my suggestion to you, here's one little hack. You can, if somebody asks you to quote a lane, just simply ask them, what does that typically run for? Or what's the range that you guys are typically looking for in that lane? Now, some shippers are just not going to tell you that, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Some shippers will tell you, and now you have a little bit of a baseline. You have a little bit of a guideline as to where that is. Now, you're not promising them that you can do it at that rate, but here's what I can tell you. If they say that they're running that lane for $1,000 and your due diligence is coming back and saying it's going to cost $2,000, then you know that there's no sense in submitting that rate at $2,000 unless you have a conversation with them to really try to qualify and make sure that you're quoting the same thing, apples to apples, oranges to oranges. Okay. So that's one thing you could do to try to hit the mark more often with your rates. Okay. So here's a good question from Horeb. What's the requirement for a freight agent, not a broker? Okay, so here's the good news. Freight agents have zero requirements. There's no license, there's no bonding, there's no authority, there's no test, there's no exam, and there's no experience required. Literally, you can get started as an agent for hundreds of dollars. You get a little bit of training. You can sign up for freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We have a base, we have a gold membership, lifetime membership. You can check that out. And then from there, all you need is a computer with internet access and a phone. That's really it. I mean, you might need a printer or a scanner, printer-scanner combination. That would be helpful. But your startup cost is going to be very, very low. And there really is no requirements. You don't need a bond. You don't need to file an application. You don't need an authority. You don't need to do it. You don't need to get your own TMS. You don't need to get your own load boards, because as an agent, you're going to sign up under a broker, and that broker is going to provide all of that for you. And that's how your part of the partnership works. Okay. So I hope that helps. Here's a question. If a carrier is just running within their state, would they need an MC number? No. If they are intrastate, meaning only within the state that they are registered in, Florida, they could, if they're an intrastate carrier in Florida, they can pick up and deliver anywhere in the state of Florida, but they cannot pick up or deliver anywhere outside of the state of Florida. Okay. If they're Texas, California, wherever it is. So if they are an intrastate carrier, they will not have an MC. They will only have a DOT. Okay. But they can only pick up in that state. Also, can you hire an owner operator that only has a social security number? You cannot hire an owner operator unless they have a MC number. They have an active authority, either intrastate or interstate. So the owner operator has to have an active authority in order for you as a broker to hire them. All right, let me shut this off. Jump back into the questions here. I'm scrolling here. Give me 1 minute. D Leach, do I need to have a freight broker license for interstate loads only? As a broker, yes. If you are a broker, whether it picks up, whether it's an intrastate load or an interstate load, you need an authority. Yes, you will need an authority as a broker. There is no state. The only way you can become a broker is if you are with the FMCSA and you are a federally licensed broker. So if you have the freight broker authority, you can move freight in any state in the United States. Okay. Within that state or across state lines. Khalil asks, can I get my authority and bond before I finish your course? Yes, sure. If my course, the getting set up as a freight broker and getting your authority and bond is a very small percentage. Let's say the course is this big. That's a very small percentage of what I teach. The rest of it is everything else you need to know. Getting your freight broker authority is very simple. It's not that complex. You go to the FMCSA, you file your freight broker authority, you file an application. Then you're going to have to get your BOC3, you're going to have to get your bond, you're going to have to file your UCR, and that's it. And then the freight broker and then the FMCSA is going to deem your authority active. And then from there, you now have your broker authority. So that's not complex. But yes, you can get your freight broker authority before you finish the training or before you even start the training. I would recommend you get the training first and then learn some of the fundamentals, and then you go out and get your authority. You can learn the rest of the training after you've got your authority, but that would be completely up to you. But the answer is yes. Tony asks, how long was it before you start between you starting the business and getting your first shipper? I think I got our first shipper in our first or second week. I know our first month we did 12 loads, that I remember. And then from there, it went to like 20 something. And then it just kept kind of doubling from there. Our first year, we did 1.2 million in sales. Our second year, we did 3.6 million. Third year, we did 6 million. Then we did 12 million and 18 million and 30 million and so on and so forth, right? So we were very, very fortunate. But yeah, I think it took about 1 to 2 weeks before we moved our first load. And I had no experience, just so you know. You probably know more about becoming a freight broker, freight agent right now than I did when I first got started. Okay. So yeah, that's 100% true. All right. I already answered that question. I'm scrolling. Give me 1 minute. Asked and answered, asked and answered. Okay, so Tony asks, how many co-broker agreements did you do when you owned or your business? You know, it was a very small percentage of our business. We had very, very, very few co-brokering relationships. It just wasn't something that we did a lot of. We always wanted to go direct and control the shippers. So we really didn't do a lot of co-brokering. I would tell you that it was a fraction of 1% of our business. Okay. So it was small. It was a small amount of business in the big scheme of things. But if you choose to do that, just make sure you're doing it strategically and for a specific reason. But I also would not build your business around co-brokering. You should go direct to shippers. The only way you should set up a co-brokering is if it's designed to supplement what you're already doing, the niche that you're already in, or maybe a niche that you want to enter where you can't, where you're not experienced and you want to work with a broker who has more experience on the other side. So hope that helps. Oh my gosh. Yes. Sandra. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Hi, Dennis. Since I'm also a logistics manager for a small shipper, would you use that info in a sales pitch to relate to them? I'm worried they'll think I won't be able to focus on their needs. Okay. Okay, Sandra, it's a good question. Number one, you're probably going to get hammered now on this. So you're going to get a million messages from people wanting to do business with you. But besides that, you know, how you convey that to your prospects doesn't need to define the fact that you are currently a logistics manager. You could say, I've got 7 years of experience or 2 years of experience as a logistics manager. I know I've been in your shoes, right? I've done your job. I understand better than anybody, better than any freight broker out there, what it takes to pick up a load on time, deliver it on time in good condition. I also understand the challenges and concerns that you might have in bringing on a new vendor. So yeah, I would use that information, but you don't need to tell them you're still currently working in that role, but you can explain to them you have X number of years of experience. That's telling the truth, right? You're telling the truth. I've got 5 years of experience working as a logistics manager. I started my freight brokerage because I saw, one of the reasons I did that is because I saw a gap. I saw a need. I saw a challenge for shippers like you, like me, and where the brokers just weren't fulfilling their needs. And so that's why I started my freight brokerage. So, I mean, there's a whole pitch and a story behind that. But yeah, I absolutely love that. I think that will build an enormous amount of credibility. Okay, so here's a question from Aaron. Can any CDL driver haul shipping containers as a power only service for a broker, or drivers are allowed to pull only regular trailers? If they have their CDL, they can drive a truck, whether it's power only or whether it has a trailer. Yeah. So they could run power only, they could run flatbeds, they could run vans. The CDL is not based upon a specific piece of equipment. Kevin, question is, why are brokers only looking for agents with a book of business? How do you get experience if you don't have a book of business? Well, number one, not all brokers are only hiring agents who have a book of business. That's not true at all. You just happen to be talking to people that are posting for, maybe they're larger companies that are looking for agents to scale up their business. Most cases, you're, as a new agent, you're not going to get hired by a large brokerage. The secret is you need to find small to medium-sized companies. So here's what I'm going to share with you. I put together a job board specific to freight brokers and freight agents. Most of the people that post jobs on this board do not require experience in order to become an agent or a book of business. So you can check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com/jobs. Now, new jobs pop up on that almost every single day, every week. We've had hundreds and hundreds of brokers hire past students and hire people from Freight Broker Bootcamp. We've also had tons of people get hired, from different brokerages. So we've had a lot of people that have used that. I started this thing a year or two ago. It's grown really, really rapidly. It's, as far as I know, it's the only niche specific job board dedicated specifically to brokers and agents. So you can check it out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com/jobs. But the misunderstanding and the misconception you have is just because you've seen some job ads that say it requires a book of businesses, that's the only thing. You need to find small to medium-sized brokers, all right, that are looking to grow. And then you need to sell yourself into a position, right? Because you don't have a book of business. But I can tell you right now that if you can sell and you can show them you've got some training, and you find a broker who's looking to grow and would love to do it on a straight commission basis, and you can explain that value proposition and how you're going to develop a win-win relationship, you're going to get an opportunity to work with them. Okay. I've seen it too many times. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Go out and talk to 20 or 30 different brokerages, focus on small to medium-sized companies, focus on ones that are trying to hire agents if possible. And I would be absolutely shocked if you didn't get an opportunity to become an agent. Matter of fact, nobody's ever taken me up on that challenge and has come back to me and said, yeah, I didn't get hired. So I think I'm batting 100% right now. All right, so hold on. Give me scrolling. I had to find where I was. Jewel has a question. Did you offer contract rates to shippers? Sometimes we did. Most times, I would tell you that probably 80 to 90% of our business was on spot market rates. And that's where most of your business will be, is in the spot market as a broker. You will have large shippers in many cases that require you to submit a long-term rate. The challenge is that long-term rate is only as valid as the volatility in the market. If fuel goes up $1, right, that rate probably isn't going to work. If we run into a global pandemic, then obviously the supply and demand of trucks is going to change and the rates are going to change dramatically, right? So, contract rates are more designed for carriers that control that have that actual cost direct and understand that cost versus brokers. Most brokers operate in the spot market. That doesn't mean you can't do contract rates. It just means you're going to have to be very careful. Question from Janessa says, what do you think about brokers allowing carriers to lease on and use the broker authority? Well, a carrier cannot lease onto a broker unless a broker has a carrier authority. If they are leased on to a broker, they're not leased onto the broker, they're leased onto their carrier authority, because you cannot lease onto a broker. Okay? Because the carrier has to have an authority. Somebody has to have a carrier authority, whether that's the broker carrier or whether that's the direct carrier. Somebody has to have a carrier authority. Now, maybe I'm misunderstanding your question, but somebody's going to have a carrier authority. Otherwise, they can't haul freight. Good question from Michael. When starting cold calling companies, should you try big name companies like Nestle Water? I still currently have an employee there. No, I would focus on small to medium sized companies. Small companies, when I first started, till I got a lot of comfort. There's a lot more small companies than there are medium companies, and there's a lot more medium companies than there are large companies. There's only one Nestle. There's only one Coke. There's only one Pepsi. There's only one US Steel, right? There's only one of those, but there are hundreds of competitors that are small to medium sized companies in each one of those spaces. So I would focus on small companies. And then I would tell you the most value you as a broker can provide is to small and medium-sized companies. It's not large companies. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do business with those companies, but that's not where most of your business is going to come from. This question, how do you know that shipper is trusted? You have to run credit on them. If you run credit on them, you run a background check on them. How long have they been in business? What's their credit like? That's going to be the biggest measure as to whether they can be trusted, right? So you're typically going to find out how long they've been in business. You're going to run like a DMB, a Dun and Bradstreet report on them, and run a credit report. And then you're going to, you're maybe going to ask for some references, some other carrier or broker references, and you're going to try to check those references. So that's how you can determine whether a shipper is trustworthy. How much money do we need to start a freight brokerage? Go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog. Where is it here? Okay. Go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog and then search in the search bar for cost, startup cost. I have an entire blog post and video that I did that breaks down all of the costs step by step for freight brokers and step by step line item for freight agents. Okay. So check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog. It would take way too long for me to try to explain that here. Here's what I'll tell you. Most freight brokers can get started for a few thousand. Most freight agents can get started for a few hundred. Kevin asked, oh, wait, no, not Kevin. I'm sorry. Mustafa asked, do I need insurance as a broker? No, you are not required to have general liability, cargo, BIPD, or any sort of insurance to become a freight broker. Now, you may choose to get insurance, and some brokers do have insurance for different reasons. Sometimes they have general liability. Sometimes they have contingent cargo insurance. Sometimes they have errors and emissions insurance, but none of those are required. And I didn't have any of those when I first got started. The first thing I got shortly into it is I got general liability insurance, which is very inexpensive. And then maybe a few months into it, after I had already moved a bunch of loads and got some cash flow going, I got contingent cargo. So that's what I did. Aaron asks, how do we master our niche like overweight? Is there a specific online training or just experience? So if you're looking to do, over-dimensional freight, right? High, wide, and heavy stuff, right? Stuff like that where it's very specialized. There's a couple things you can do. You can just learn trial and error, which typically comes by working very closely with some carriers that will explain the nuances associated with the type of freight that you're trying to move. A lot of times brokers start at a carrier that have that specialized equipment, and then they understand it that way, or they start as a broker and they work closely with some carriers, and those carriers kind of help them along and educate them on the nuances associated with that specific niche, and it's a win-win relationship, right? You can also, there may be, depending upon your specific niche, there may be some specific niche training online. I've never seen it, but there may be some specific niche training online for your specific niche, whether that be temperature control freight, or whether that be over-dimensional freight, or whether that be import-export. There may be, you could search for that. But Freight Broker Bootcamp, we do not have a specific training. We do talk about a lot of those niches, but we don't have a specific training for those niches. Okay, so here's a question. P&D Logistics. Can I, as a broker freight if that my carrier branch have set up with a direct shipper if carrier truck broke down under the load? Okay, so the question is, your carrier division is hauling a load for a shipper, and that carrier division, that truck broke down, and you're asking if you can then broker that load out to another carrier. Well, that depends upon your relationship and your contract and the terms of service with your shipper. So if your contract says that you can broker loads, you can broker and use your assets and non-asset based, assets, or connections, then you'll be able to, then you can do that. But if it doesn't specifically say that, what you might want to do is go to the shipper and say, listen, this truck broke down. We don't have one of our trucks here, but we do have a carrier partner that we work closely with that can haul that load, and get their permission to do that. So that would be the fallback. But a lot of that's going to depend upon the terms that you set up when you set the relationship up. Okay, so here's a question. If I pick the first package, which is the gold package for Freight Broker Bootcamp, will I still be able to later pick up the second package, which is the platinum package, at a later time for other benefits offered in that one? Yes, you can start as a gold member and you can upgrade to a platinum member. Okay. So yes, you can start as a gold member and upgrade to a platinum member. Now I can tell you right now, the gold membership is currently only $185, but that's subject to change. I haven't changed that for several years, and chances are that's going to go up. I also haven't changed the price of the platinum membership, which is $389 one time. These are both one-time costs. There's no recurring costs. Okay. Not monthly or yearly, one-time cost. I also haven't changed that. So prices are subject to change. That's what I'm going to tell you. So if you just know, we're getting towards the end of the year here, right? And a lot of times towards the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, is when I'll do price increases, right? So right now you can get started for a one-time payment of $185 for a gold membership, or you can get a lifetime membership, lifetime support for $389 in the platinum membership. And you can do that right now very quickly. You get instant access to all the training. Okay, so here's a question from Fura Eves. Can you please tell me what to avoid when you're approaching shipper manager via LinkedIn or emails to look professional when you're starting? Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you, especially on LinkedIn. One of the biggest challenges with LinkedIn is that people have a tendency to beat people over the head with their pitch. They treat it like a cold call, right? If you're using LinkedIn, it's different than cold calling. It's called social selling. So you have to slow down the process. So what I want you to understand is you have to slow things down. LinkedIn is not Tinder. We're not speed dating here. Okay. So it's not about all just getting out on that date, right? For the booty call. So here, the funny thing is this, when you're on LinkedIn, you have to slow things down. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to be overly aggressive. You want to be a little bit more casual. You want to focus on giving that versus taking. You don't want to push a phone call. You don't want to push that cold agenda that a lot of people do, because people can very easily ghost you at that point and you'll never hear from them again. Remember, your goal on LinkedIn, your goal in every engagement is to simply make a good first impression. It's not to sell them. You need to develop the know, like, and trust that is required to get a sale, to get a customer, to develop that relationship. So my biggest advice to you is to slow things down. Don't be overly aggressive. Cynthia Moore, what's a reasonable time frame you give yourself to check out a shipper's credit and a carrier before they're hired? Shipper's credit can literally take 5 or 10 minutes. You pull up their DMB report and you can evaluate that report in minutes once you get used to evaluating it. If you decide to call some references because you're not quite sure about their credit, then it might take a little bit extra time, but typically, 5, 10, 15 minutes. Setting up a carrier can take 5 minutes. It can take hours. It depends upon, remember, you have to validate the carrier's insurance. And sometimes that's the slowest part. You can find out if their authority is active in 60 seconds. You can check out their safety scores in another 60 seconds. But the carrier insurance is something that you need to validate. Sometimes that could take one phone call or one email or 1 minute. It might take longer. So I would say in most cases, 5 to 15 minutes for shippers, 5 to 15 minutes for carriers. Yes, they will. Will any shipper work with a new broker MC number that's 1 month old? Yes. Yes. I have new students all the time that are getting their first loads. Weekly, we have students that are getting their first shippers, moving their first loads, and starting to make money. We have new students every single week that are doing that, and they just got their authority. And so they will, absolutely. Now, some will, some won't. I can't tell you who will, but I know a lot of them will. If you can make a good first impression, develop strong rapport, and develop the know, like, and trust that's needed to get any sale, whether you've been in business for 20 years or 20 days or 20 hours, if you can go through the know, like, and trust, you will get an opportunity. All right, so we're going to wrap this up here. Give me 1 minute. Question, is it possible to be a freight agent without training? Anything's possible, but highly unlikely. Number one, it's highly unlikely that you'll get hired if you don't have some training and can speak the lingo and can share and understand and explain to the shipper or to the broker what you're able to do. Number two, you're probably not going to be able to communicate that to the shipper either. So even if you do get a partner to work with you or a broker to work with you, you're not going to be able to perform on the shipper side. So anything's possible, but highly unlikely unless you get a little bit of training. And that's why I put together freightbrokerbootcamp.com, right? It's the most cost-effective, comprehensive online freight broker and freight agent training program available. You can get instant access and get started right now for a one-time payment of just $185. One-time payment. You get 1 year full access and full support for 1 full year for $185. Pretty tough to beat that. Plus, we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee if you're not happy for any reason. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, like, comment, share the stream. Okay. Truly appreciate it. That's the price of admission today. You didn't have to put in your credit card to be a part of this training or this Q&A. Thank you very much for being here. Again, like, comment, share, come back every Monday at noon. I do new freight broker trainings every single week. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to all of the Freight Broker Bootcamp students. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all the first timers for taking all the time out of your day. I hope you got great value, and everybody that falls somewhere in between, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We won't let you down. Again, we offer 100% unconditional money back guarantee. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.